Alright, so we have seen how a Python program can take input during runtime using input function, a statement written in the script with the help of like input function. This is an optional message, provide input, and it takes the input from the user with the help of a keyboard, and it is again in the form of a string. Okay. The second method that we have just studied is through the command line. Okay. So we will learn another way of how a Python script can take input from files. This is very important thing, and being a developer, you should know how to read the data from file and then process the information. Just like I gave you an example of the tool that I have developed. I download your grades from information from Zybooks, and then the code, the tool actually process that entire data written in the stored in the external file, and then process it however I want it to process. Okay. So let's talk about reading files. So built-in open function can be used to read contents from a file. So first we will go through the slides a little bit, and then you also have to do the same thing with me. Let's say we have a program called reading file.py. So what we are doing here is we are using an open function, open method, which opens the file quotation.txt. So this is the name of the file which we want to run, quotation.txt. Okay. This file is assumed to be stored in the same directory where this reading file.py is placed. Okay, this is important. If the file that you are trying to read is not placed in the same directory where your program is placed, then you have to specify the full path of the file where it is placed. It's in another directory, just specify the full path. Okay, so once you read the file, it is stored, it actually creates, first of all, it creates an object. So we are creating an object with the help of open method, okay, and we are giving it a name, motivation. As same as we use the classes, the Toyota car, remember? So we created an object with the help of Toyota car and gave it a name, Highlander or Corolla, whatever. Okay, so here we are giving it a name, motivation. Now on that object we can perform certain tasks. We can either read the data from that object, from that file. We can also write the data. So first of all, we are concerned about reading the data. So what the read method reads the entire file contents and store it in a variable name code. Okay, and then after reading, we can close the file, close that object, and then print whatever the contents that we have read. So I use this opportunity to give you a meaningful message here also. So the quotation.txt contains this code. With every hardship there is an ease. Indeed, with every hardship there is an ease. So whenever you are going through any hardship, just remember that there is always something which you are privileged with, which there is always an ease in your life, which if you look around, you may find many people would want to have that kind of easiness that you are dealing with. Anyway, so this is a quotation.txt. We are going to do the same thing in a demo, but first open function opens the specified file and creates a file object. The read function reads the entire content of the file and return it as a string. Okay, so everything that is written in a file, it would be returned as a string. Here assume that the quotation.txt, I have already mentioned that, exists in the same directory where this file reading file.py is placed. Okay, and then close function closes the file, after which no read write operations are allowed. And it is important to close the file because it might be possible that you are reading, you have opened the file in your Python program, but the file might be already open, or somebody wants to open the file maybe using the Excel tool, or maybe a doc, Microsoft Word. So it would create a problem writing the file in writing the new content, because it's already open here, it's already read the content which is already stored. So it may create a problem saving the file either here or there. So it is better whenever you are done with the file, you should always close it. Okay, So if the file to be read is not in the same directory, we have to specify the full path. Okay, I have already mentioned that. So here, built-in open function can be used to read content from a file. Most common methods to read content from a file are read method, which I have just explained. It reads the entire contents. Another method is read lines. It reads the contents line by line and arrange them in a separate list. Every line is considered as a separate element of a list. Okay, so this was the entire passage, entire contents as a single string. The next one is read lines. You have all the lines are arranged as a separate list elements. Okay, so both methods stops reading when an end of file is encountered. So if you recall, I discussed something about ASCII characters, right? So when we press A, there is a standard value that is associated to alphabet A, which is 65. It is transmitted to your whatever software that you're using, Microsoft Word. So keyboard transmits the value 65 to processor then converts it into A, and that is displayed on your screen. There are some other characters, standard characters, like EOF stands for end of file. So whenever you are done working in a file, when you close it, the tool, the editing tool like Microsoft Word automatically inserts EOF character at the end. It actually helps another tools in the machine to determine whether the entire content of the file is completed or not. Okay, so it is not available, it is not visible to you, but behind the scene, every editor appends the EOF character at the end. So when you are reading, using read or read lines, it will keep reading until EOF character is encountered. We do not need to worry about, we do not need to specify any condition like if EOF is encountered. No, there's this method, open method and read lines method take care of everything. Optionally, we can also specify the number of bytes to read. Okay, so we can specify, so for example, if I have a word hello only written in a file, what do you think, how many bytes would it contain? HELLO. Why? Just a random thought? Yeah. No, actually every character is represented in 1 byte. So every character, A, B, C, and D, or whatever number, everything is represented in 1 byte. The standard characters I'm talking about. If you have to represent more data, you can consider that we need more bytes to represent that data. Okay. So hello would contain 5 characters. So you can specify 5 bytes, sorry. So you can specify like if your file contains hello only as a contents, and if you specify read lines or read line 3, so first 3 character will be read. HEL will be read. Okay, so that many number you can specify. Okay, and you can imagine now. You can imagine like about your phone memory. So phone memory is what is the size of your phone memory? You were talking about Google Pixel, John. Do you know? I'm just asking if you're already aware of. You don't need to go into the settings and find out.
Storage.
Yeah, storage. Usually it comes in like 32 gigabytes, 64, 128, 256. So you can imagine like 32 gigabytes means 32 gig means G means 10 to the power 9. So that many number of bytes it can store. And that would contain your images. So images also contains like a simple image would contain like 500 kilobytes. So you can imagine like 500 characters are there in there. Anyway, this was just an additional information. Okay, so let's talk about writing files also, and then I'll walk you through the demo. So we have already discussed reading file, how we can read the file, and let's see how the writing files work. Many application requires storing data permanently in a file. So file name dot write method, as same as we had a read method, with the help of write method, we can write the string argument to a file. Okay. Again, if you are supposed to be writing something, so for example, you perform an arithmetic calculation, 10 plus 12, which is 22, it's an integer type. Okay. If you have to write this value into a file, you first have to convert it into a string. Pass this value into a string function, and then you can write that into a file. Okay. So this is a simple program which actually reads, use the open method to open the file named myfile.txt, and we have to specify the mode. So we are using the same method, open, as we were using it before here. When we do not specify the mode, the default behavior of open method is it reads the file. Okay. So here we are specifying w corresponds to writing. Okay. So when we are specify w, it means that we want to write into this file. What do we want to write? With the help of write method, we write a string, hello, \n, it's change of line character, and then my first write operation. And then after writing, we have to close it. Okay, and it would write my file, hello, my first write operation. Okay, so file.write method accepts a string argument only, as I just mentioned. So writing integer or float data required to be converted to a string first, just like this. So pass the value, integer value or numerical value into a string function, and then pass this value into a write method, and it would write this. Okay.